We have a major Toronto Blue Jays free agency update to go over today as new reports have dropped revealing some very interesting details surrounding Anthony Santander and the Toronto Blue Jays. We're going to break down the new reports, discuss what this means as the Jays are preparing to make a splash in free agency. But before we get into all that, quick reminder, hit that subscribe button. If you're part of the percentage, you aren't subscribed to the channel, it's the place to be for daily Jays content. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jays haven't made a move this offseason of significance, at least when it comes to signings. And I know the fans are getting antsy, they're getting upset, they're getting livid. They need to make a move. And according to this report, all signs are pointing to this specific move happening, and that is in regards to Anthony Santander. A new report has dropped, revealing some interesting things. Now, I know that other reports are dropping. Obviously, the Jays missed out on a bunch of different players, whether that's Corbin Burns or that's Teoscar Hernandez. But this new report dropped from actually a Tigers reporter, a reliable one. The Detroit Tigers have already signed Gleyber Torres, who the Jays were rumored to be in on, a right-handed hitting second baseman. But the Tigers still need another right-handed hitter to balance their lineup full of left-handed hitters. But here's the interesting part. Here, the Tigers have interest in third baseman Bregman and right fielder Santander, but the Tigers aren't front runners in Santander's market. The Toronto Blue Jays and Los Angeles Angels are the front runners for his services. So a pretty big report here. And there's a bunch of different ones. John Heyman also came out and said, which we'll dive into later, that, hey, the Jays are also front runners for Anthony Santander. So at this point, I'm aware a lot of you guys are probably saying the Jays have been front runners for everybody. They've been involved in everybody. I'm right there with you. I'm sick of hearing the Jays are interested in this player, interested in that player, front runners for this player, front runners for that player. That being said, this is of some significance because it's not a Jays writer. It's not John Heyman being leveraged. This is from a Detroit Tigers writer basically saying that the Jays, and for the first time, the Los Angeles Angels are the front runners for his services. Now, I'll begin this video by saying if they miss out on Anthony Santander because of the Los Angeles Angels, I will be, it'll time to bring out the pitchforks for Ross Atkins because the Angels are not in a better position than the Blue Jays in any regard. They're one of the worst teams in the league, even though they added a bunch of players this offseason. If you're the Jays, just offer Santander however much money he needs. We know he was commanding a 5-year deal at about 100 to 120 million. If you need to give him 120 million over 5 years to make it happen, is that going to be a good contract? Probably not. Doesn't matter. The Jays have no choice at this point. They struck out on so many other free agents that they are now forced to overpay for anybody they get. And clearly, because of the core that this team has, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bichette, both of them are pending UFAs. We're all aware of this. We all know this. This means that they're going to have to overpay for some players. They've been throwing money at everybody. No one's been taking it because of the rocky situation surrounding the team and what this means going forward beyond, of course, next season. Because why would Corbin Burns sign here for 7 years if Vladdy and Bo are going to be gone after next year? We know they're working on a contract with Vladdy. That's going to take 400, 500 million. It's at the point now, will Edward Rogers in the front office approve a huge contract to multiple players, whether that's Vladdy at 500, whether that's Santander at 120. That being said, I do think that they're going to outbid the Los Angeles Angels, and I do think they're going to secure Anthony Santander. I know a lot of fans are probably going to call me delusional for that. I think it's just the way that this is going to be for a few different reasons. One, he is the clear best fit for the Blue Jays. They need power hitting. He's coming off of a phenomenal season. Two, they have the money to spend right now, and everybody knows that. And it's also probably not working towards the Blue Jays' leverage a lot because they know no one's taking, I'm sure Anthony Santander's agent knows, hey, no one is taking the Blue Jays' money. Let's make them offer a little bit more. And I think when the Jays hopefully sign Santander, the contract is probably not going to look great off rip. My guess, 5 years, 117 million, 5 years, 100 million, 110 million, something like that. But ultimately, this is from John Heyman. Sorry for the crop screenshot. Power hitters, even go-ins like Santander, are not getting their due yet. Understandably, he's been looking to crack 100 million. The Jays are nearly everyone's best guess, followed by Boston. I don't think Boston is going to go out at this point and get a guy like Anthony Santander, but the Jays are everybody's best guess. 100 million. I think it's going to come in again. 5 years, 110, 5 years, 120, 100 or 20, 10 or $20 million more than we initially thought for Santander because the Jays are just in a spot now where they need to go out and they need to spend. Like, if they don't acquire Santander, the offseason is in very rough shape. Yes, they could pivot to Jurickson and Profar, pivot to some trade options. But if you go out and you get Santander and then you start to build the bullpen and maybe you got to add one more piece, could be an Alex Bregman type like they discussed here. Obviously, the Tigers are pursuing Bregman and heavily involved. We saw Carlos Baerga say that, he's going to land with the Tigers. Baerga is he makes up a lot of stuff. He's full of garbage, but he gets things right occasionally. But again, John Heyman, Detroit Press, all saying the Jays are frontrunners for Anthony Santander. It is a lot of smoke. I know we've been frontrunners before, but it's very rare when there's not a lot of teams left in multiple markets here. And at the end of the day, a lot of teams have made their moves of the offseason. Now, does that mean the Jays won't get outbid or anything like that? I wouldn't put it past them to get outbid by the Angels because they haven't shown us an ability to get any free agents thus far with this front office over the past handful of off seasons. Obviously, they got some guys. They've done a decent job earlier on, George Springer, Kevin Gausman, Chris Bassett, a lot of these guys, Hyun-Jin Ryu back in 2019. But now with the way that this team is constructed, free agents are a lot less likely to want to make that move over here. And again, you're looking at a guy who's hit 44 home runs last year, 28 the year before, 33 the year before. He's a switch hitter. He's would probably be running DH slash first base. And he is exactly what this team needs. You need a power hitting left-handed hitter. Now, he's obviously a switch hitter, so he'll be hitting left majority of the time, and then he can switch hitting from the right side against lefties. But at the end of the day, 44 home runs, 102 RBIs, can hit right-handed against southpaws, and of course hit left-handed against righties. You're looking at a guy that would fit seamlessly into this lineup. That being said, he's only had 2 seasons where he's had an OPS of above 800. And that is, of course, in the COVID-shortened 2020 season and then in the last season. And he's coming off his best year, so you're going to have to pay a premium on that, which is why it's a bit of a risky contract. He's not a good defender, which is why his WAR is so low. He hasn't put up above a 3 WAR ever. So it's like, if you're getting 3 WAR for, let's say, 20, 25 million a year, that's fine, especially given the construction of this team. But the Jays front office has to throw that away at this point. You do not need to worry about your WAR, or you don't need to worry about, how much WAR you're getting per dollar or maximizing your dollars. If you continue to think that way, you're going to be screwed because you have no other choice. Vladdy will leave, Bo will leave, everybody will leave, and you'll be fielding a non-competitive team where fans are hesitant to come watch the games in a brand newly renovated Rogers Center. You have no choice but to overpay for Santander. I thought they were going to overpay for Corbin Burns. They did offer the most money, 7 years, $250 million. He chose to go to Arizona to raise his family. They just had twins, him and his wife. So that all makes sense. You missed out on Juan Soto. He wanted to go to New York. Fair enough. Steve Cohen outbid the Jays. This is your last chance here. If you don't get Santander or find a way to pull off something, this team is going to be going downhill fast, and they already have started going downhill. And we have other reports coming out saying the Blue Jays are literally in every free agent mix. It seems they do not have, they have one of the best offers on the table, they think, for Anthony Santander. And then, of course, they made the trade for, they showed strong interest in Gleyber Torres. They made, the trade, of course, for Andres Gimenez. They're seen as front runners by numerous sources to land Santander. Everything is lining up for them to get Santander. So far, again, the Andres Gimenez trade, I bring this up a lot, according to F4, is very solid, and that's probably why they did the trade. But I'm worried they're going to get caught up in this F4, calculation and stick into their final bottom line dollar, which will say, hey, we can give him 5 years, 100. We're not giving him 5 years, 110 or 5 years, 120. Throw that away, make the deal. And if you don't, you're going to be in a very rough spot very, very quickly, which will ultimately lead to the fan base turning on the front office, which has already started to happen because of the lack of moves and being finalists and being strongly interested in every single free agent that has touched the face of this planet this offseason. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on this, and let me know your thoughts are on the Jays being strongly interested in a lot of these players. I think ultimately they're going to land Anthony Santander. Make sure to hit the subscribe button to keep you up to date for all the Blue Jays news. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.